In basketball, emotions often flare, but few athletes harness that fire quite like Caitlin Clark. When the game gets rough or the whistle stays silent, her response is instant and unmistakable. You can read it in her expression, hear it in her tone, and sense it in the way she elevates her play. These fiery flashes reveal the immense pressure she shoulders and her relentless drive to win. These are Caitlin Clark's most intense moments, and with each one, the stakes only get higher.
Kicking it out, Evans fakes the three, takes the two, and knocks it down.
Let's start with a moment that perfectly captures how quickly things can boil over when Caitlin Clark is under pressure. On January 10, 2024, in a showdown against the Purdue Boilermakers, she hit the court locked in, her focus radiated through every movement. You could see it in her stance, the sharpness of her execution, and the way she surveyed the floor. She didn't need to say a word, her determination was unmistakable from the opening tip, but intensity like that rarely flies under the radar. Just seconds into the game, her teammate Kylie Farbach takes a blatant shove, an obvious foul, completely ignored by the ref. Clark's reaction is immediate. She shouts in disbelief, demanding the call. Instead of justice, she's hit with a technical foul. No warning. No benefit of the doubt. Just the cost of playing with passion.
Met with some contact. Clark is upset. She gets teed up.
Yeah.
The latter part of the game.
Yeah, you could.
Treatment like that starts early. It sets a tone, and for Caitlin Clark, that tone didn't fade. It built. Game after game, the pressure didn't ease, it compounded. The weight of expectations, the physical play, the missed calls, they all followed her from Purdue and beyond. On March 23, 2024, in Iowa's matchup against Holy Cross, it all boiled up again. After a quick steal in the backcourt, Clark surged down the floor, eyes locked on the basket. But before she could make her move, she was swallowed by a wall of defenders. They crowded her, leaning on their size and strength to strip her momentum and force the turnover. The whistle stayed silent, with nowhere to go and no call coming.
Early, it forces the defense to spread out. It opens it up for 22 to go to work. Clark with the steal. Has it knocked loose. Working on the smaller defender, triple team.
Clark reacted in the moment, raw and unfiltered. She bounced the ball off her own head in visible frustration, a gesture that said everything she wasn't allowed to. From the sidelines, voices erupted, demanding a technical.
Side.
This wasn't just a fleeting outburst, it was the culmination of sustained pressure, constant physicality, and silence from the officials. For Caitlin Clark, it had become a familiar script. But the story didn't end in college, it carried over to the pros. On July 17, 2024, during a clash between the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings, the same pattern resurfaced. With 45 seconds remaining, Clark drove the ball up court, alone, the only Fever player in motion. Confronted by a suffocating triple team and no whistle in her favor, she tried to manufacture a moment from chaos. The play collapsed. So did her composure.
But right now, they're just thinking about winning this ball game. Clark quickly gets it up court, then got it knocked away. Odyssey cradles it.
In the aftermath, she turned toward the sideline, grabbed a water bottle, and hurled it across the court. The frustration that had simmered for months erupted once more, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore.
Welcome back to Dallas. Caitlin Clark upset with herself.
Just when it felt like the weight couldn't grow any heavier, it did. On February 25, 2024, in a high-stakes showdown between Iowa and Ohio State, Caitlin Clark was once again caught in the middle of the storm, this time clashing with guard J.C. Sheldon. Midway through the game, Clark was clearly fouled. Sheldon grabbed her left hand right in front of the officials, followed by a second hit in the same sequence. Yet again, no whistle, no call.
With 7:36 to play in the fourth, and she hasn't shot the ball well. Scrambled. Tied up. Yeldon. Clark.
Moments like these take a toll. Getting hacked on back-to-back plays and hearing nothing from the whistle only adds fuel to the frustration that's been building all season. But it wasn't the last time Clark would clash with someone who wasn't afraid to get physical. On June 1st, 2024, during a WNBA matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Ree hit a boiling point. Ree, already known for bringing extra heat whenever Clark is involved, delivered a hard shove using her arm and elbow that sent Clark to the floor.
Kicking it out, Evans fakes the three, takes the two, and knocks it down. 50-50?
50-50.
The contact might have seemed like a routine foul on a rebound, but in the heat of the moment, it was anything but subtle. The referees let it slide, the crowd erupted, and Reese added fuel to the fire with taunts that only heightened the tension. Moments like this had become all too familiar in Clark's WNBA journey, taking hits, staying composed, and responding not with words, but with her play. And with each shove, she fought back with even more intensity, but the physical battles weren't the only thing testing Clark's limits. Sometimes, it was the officials who pushed her to the brink. On January 10, 2024, during Iowa's game against Purdue, Clark nailed one of the most challenging shots in basketball, a perfect half-court buzzer beater. According to a study published in the Journal of Sports Science, sinking one of those is a 1 in 100 chance. It should have
field goal percentages actually go up.
The referee called a foul on Clark just before she released the ball, erasing what could have been one of the most remarkable moments of the season. She was already mid-motion, fully committed to her shot, but it didn't matter. The play was invalidated, and Clark's frustration finally...
Trying to draw the foul, referee signaled to count it.
Oh my.
What's the verdict?
Moments like these only added to the mounting tension. Clark wasn't just battling defenders, she was fighting for fairness, and sometimes, for recognition. Missed calls weren't just frustrating, they became a constant. On May 20th, 2024, during a game between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin Clark...
After that foul call on Aaliyah, but this one I think
is off a stagger on the weak side, but she comes off a pin down here, wide open.
Victoria Vivian's an old